What's up, guys? My name is Tai Zen. Welcome to the cryptocurrency.market channel. We are a trading, investing, entrepreneurship channel, and we love to look for ways to make life-changing money in our lives, okay? And we have no shame about it, okay? And we like to look for stuff that really works in the real world and not that airy-fairy, fluffy bullshit that people talk about that doesn't actually work out in the real world, okay? So many of you guys know that, you know, I came from Vietnam as a Vietnamese refugee, lived in America for many years. I spent a lot of time living in the ghettos, growing up, uneducated. I never had a high school degree or anything like that. You know, grew up in the ghettos of America, lived in the black neighborhoods, sold drugs, hung out with the wrong people, did a bunch of stupid shit, went to prison for drugs for nearly 14 years, got out in my mid-30s and had to rebuild my life, and then finally was able to retire in my mid-40s, okay? So it was a long journey, and I like to document the stupid shit that I did to keep me poor and the stuff that I did that got me wealthy, okay? So in this video, I want to share with you guys 3 things that, that got me wealthy, that helped me become a millionaire, okay? Many people talk about having the millionaire mindset and all this other stuff, right? And in my opinion, that is not enough. You know, believing that you can become a millionaire is not enough to become a millionaire, because if it was, there would be a lot more people becoming millionaires, okay? I want to share with you guys the 3 things that, you know, allows us to become a millionaire, that helps us get to that point, okay? In a previous video, I talked about, you know, do you have a millionaire brand, personal brand, okay? And this is kind of a follow-up video to that, where I talk about the things that actually help you create the type of millionaire brand, personal brand, that actually fosters and helps you actually become a millionaire. So it's not just that you have a millionaire brand, but a personal brand, but actually become a millionaire and actually become wealthy, okay? So I'll start by saying, you know, sharing this with you, okay? When I was growing up in America, I used to love watching Bruce Lee movies, okay? We had Kung Fu theater, we had black belt theater, and we had all kinds of martial arts movies that we watched in America. But me and my friends, my brother, everybody, all the young kids in the early 80s in America loved Bruce Lee, okay? He was the undisputed baddest motherfucker that was on TV. This guy can whip everybody's ass, okay? I don't care about Conor McGregor, Mayweather, Mike Tyson. If Bruce Lee was alive today, he'd whip all their ass at the same time, okay? That's how big Bruce Lee was when he was alive. I mean, he was dead by then, but the movies that he had, we just loved it, man. I mean, I used to watch Bruce Lee, and we would come out there, and he would, you know, we would try to, you know, do all this other stupid shit that we try to imitate him. We try to do everything we could to imitate Bruce Lee because he was our hero, okay? We're not a bunch of pussy motherfuckers like the soft-ass snowflakes and social justice warriors that we have today out in the world, where you barely touch them and they cry like a little girl, you know? I did not grow up in that. I grew up in America where we admired the guys like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like Rambo, like Sylvester Stallone, like Bruce Willis, like Chuck Norris, bad motherfuckers, okay? Because that's what we wanted to be. Like the guys that grow up in America, when I first came there, it was embarrassing to be a little pussy ass, be a little soft cotton ball ass, okay? Back then. Nowadays, we got so many single moms that's raising boys up, and they're so scared shitless that their little boy is going to fall or some stupid shit like that. So we raised a generation in America right now of a bunch of soft-ass, pussy-ass boys, okay? Back when I first came to America, it was not like that, okay? You had a squabble with somebody, you got in the streets, and you fight about it and come back home and you were done, okay? I mean, back then, and stuff like that. So when I got to prison, right, as a teenager at 18 years old, one of the things that happened a lot was that since I was a skinny little runt, I didn't have the muscles that I had today. I didn't know how to weight train. I didn't know how to lift weights. I didn't know how to grow big muscles. I came in there at 5'11". I was about 130 pounds or so, soaking wet. So there's a lot of guys that try to rape my ass, you know. They didn't succeed, okay? They didn't succeed, but it was really, really tough, you know, coming into an adult prison at 18 years old, and every black dude that's weighing 250 pounds of muscle wants to stick his little wee-wee into your butt. Okay, that is not a good feeling. I mean, it's not a good feeling when you go through the registration process where they process you into the prison system, and they put you, you know, they put me in with like 200 naked black dudes with all their swinging dicks hanging around everywhere and their balls hanging everywhere, okay? That's not a pleasant feel when you're 18 years old, okay? So, at that time, to protect myself, I wanted to learn how to fight. Okay, I didn't know how to fight back then. I didn't know any martial arts or anything, and I was fortunate that I ran into some Marines, some U.S. Marines that were put in prison, right, for whatever crimes they committed while they were in the military. And so these guys helped me learn the martial arts that Bruce Lee studied, and it's called Wing Chun. Okay, so I like it, you know, and keep in mind, guys, I don't practice or study the Wing Chun or any martial arts so that I can go compete on stage in it. I just want to learn just enough, you know, so I can protect myself. Number one, protect myself and defend myself and protect my wife and kids. And number two is I like to, you know, stay in shape, exercise. So practicing martial arts is a good exercise for me, and it serves the purpose. It helps me feel confident that I can protect my family if I get into a situation where I need to protect my family against someone else trying to hurt them, okay? So one of the things that I learned from Bruce Lee was that, you know, a beginning amateur martial artist will wait until they get punched in the face and then try to block it, okay? He says the next level up is when you see the hand move and then you try to block it then. And then he said the ultimate highest level of martial arts is when you can detect your opponent's intention in their brain. You detect their intention, and then you walk away from the fight. You walk away so the guy your opponent never has a chance to hit you or punch you or kick you or do anything or karate chop you in the throat, okay? So that really fascinated me, because if you guys remember in the movie Enter the Dragon, right? When Bruce Lee was on that boat, I think the name of it was Enter the Dragon. It's the one where he goes to the island and he fights the guy with the moves the hand, you know? It's been so long. But I remember in that scene, the white guy that's on the boat asked Bruce Lee, you know, what's your style? You know, like he's like, what's your kung fu style? And Bruce Lee said, the art of fighting without fighting. And what he meant was that if you read in Bruce Lee's books, his notes, right, he writes some really fascinating stuff in his books. You know, if you ever get a chance, highly recommend you read, you know, all the volumes of his books and how he looked at life through the eyes of a martial artist, okay? Some phenomenal books to read, okay? It's one of those few times where you actually read and get inside his head and see what he was thinking through his writing. He wrote a lot, okay? So when you read it, he in his books, he talks about like the art of fighting is when you can detect your opponent's intention, okay, and you just walk away. That is the ultimate level of martial arts, the art of fighting without fighting. The reason why I'm sharing this with you is that this video is about creating $1 million personal brand, okay? The $1 million personal brand comes from three things. It comes from your thoughts, your intention, which becomes your voice, which becomes the words that you say in which you verbalize out into the world, okay? And then it becomes your actions. So the root where the start of $1 million personal brand is not what you do out here. It's not wearing this, you know, Ferrari shirt. It's not wearing a Breitling watch. It's not wearing a Rolex watch. It's not wearing Ray-Bans. It's none of that bullshit. It starts inside your mind, and from there it manifests into your speech, and then it manifests into your actions, okay? And I'll share with you guys several examples, okay? So after reading that book, Unlimited Power by Tony Robbins, when I was in prison, that's the book. That was the landmark book. Shout out to Tony Robbins. I think you're an amazing human being. Thanks to your book, Unlimited Power, it turned my life around. I was a fucking stupid ass teenager who went nowhere in life except breaking the laws and everything. And then when I had the opportunity, when I was really down and depressed in my life and really did not care about living anymore, I had an opportunity. Somebody gave me the book Unlimited Power, and it was the first time in my life that I stayed up overnight and did not sleep. That was the first book I ever read in my life where I did not sleep until I finished reading it. I read the entire book without going to eat, without going to sleep, without nothing, because it was the first time in my life that I heard that your mentality, that our mentality creates our reality. No one had ever told me that before, right? And that's what turned my life around. And when I realized that and I learned that, every time I heard another prisoner say that, man, I got to go back to the streets and hustle and sell drugs again, I would tell myself, I would program it into my head, because when I heard another prisoner say that, that was like a cancer. That was a cancerous seed that was just went into my ear and went to my head. So right away when I heard that, I would reframe that and reword that you know what? Thank God that I have this opportunity to sit in prison and work on myself and reprogram my mind, because I am going to be successful where all the other prisoners go out there and sell drugs and hustle on the streets and get locked up and go back to prison. I am going to be that prisoner. I'm going to be that 2% that is not going to come back, because in the federal prison system, 98% of the federal prisoners come back to prison. Okay? And I told myself, I am going to be that 2% that does not come back. Okay? So every time I heard somebody say that, right, I would just reword it in my head, and I would say it over and over and over until it wipes out what the other guy said, right? When someone said that, hey, Ty, you've been in prison for 14 years, you have no high school education, you will never become wealthy, right? I would turn around, I wouldn't argue with them because I knew it was useless, right? I knew that as long as it was in my head and I believed that I could become wealthy, I knew it was only a matter of time. So when somebody told me that negative bullshit, I would sit there and I would smile on the outside and shake my head and agree with them. But inside my head, I reframed what they said. And I told myself that I don't have a high school degree. I would go out there. I'm going to find people that don't have a high school degree that are millionaires and learn from them. I'm going to find out people who are successful and did not have a formal education and learn from them. And I'm going to do the same shit that they did. And I'm going to become a millionaire just like they are. All right? So I did not let any of those negative thoughts cross my mind. Okay? Whenever someone said that, hey, you know what? You have a felony drug record. You will never become wealthy in your life. You're never going to have a chance. Nobody's going to want to do business with you. I would reframe it inside my mind and say that when I come out, people are going to see that I have transformed my life. I'm not the same immature teenager no more that's causing trouble in the neighborhood, and I want to become a successful entrepreneur, and that other business people and other entrepreneurs will want to see my ambition, see my motivation, and want to do business with me. Okay? So I did not let these people, because the reason why is because having a negative broke-ass mindset is not the mindset of $1 million personal brand. I refuse to let someone else ruin my millionaire mindset brand in my head, okay? So I control what I was thinking, okay? Now, here's the thing. When I remember the first few times, I don't know the exact time or location, but I remember that the first few times that I said that I wanted to be a millionaire someday, it was very, very uncomfortable, okay? It was the most uncomfortable thing that I could possibly say out of my mouth, because I came from a small fishing village in Vietnam. I was a refugee. Nobody in my family had ever finished high school, okay? Nobody in my family has money. We were living in a mobile home for 8 years. And in case you don't know, a mobile home is a house with wheels on it. It's like living in a truck container, like the containers you guys see on a truck, on an 18-wheeler that transports cargo, except it has wheels on it, and it's not made out of steel, so it's not durable like a trucking container. It's usually made out of flimsy sheet metal, and styrofoam, and it's just a cheap house. If you say that you live in a mobile home in America, that means you were dirt ass poor, okay? And my family lived in that for like 8 years. There was areas in our floor where it had holes in the floor, and we had to be careful that we didn't walk over those holes because we would fall right through the house into the outside of the house, okay? Because we were so poor and we didn't have the money to fix it, okay? So when I grew up in that environment, I knew that if I didn't change my mindset, like Tony Robbins said, I would never get out of it, okay? And what happened was the actions that we took, right? When we were there and poor, we would watch TV and we would do all these things when I was in the poor ghetto neighborhoods. And I realized that if I kept doing that, and if we opened our mouths in the neighborhood, in the poor neighborhoods, and said we wanted to be rich someday, everybody would laugh at us. It would be very, very uncomfortable. There's this gut-wrenching feel inside my stomach every time I said that I wanted to be wealthy, wanted to be rich, wanted to be a millionaire, because it never came off being authentic because I came from a very poor background, okay? I lived in the refugee camps for over a year, and because of that, I grew up in poverty all the time. So for me to open my mouth and say that I wanted to become a millionaire was not an easy thing to do. It was extremely uncomfortable, and every time I talked to someone that was higher social status, had more money or had more education than I did, it was the absolute most extremely uncomfortable thing to do inside, okay? I remember saying to myself all the time that if I don't practice being comfortable saying that I wanted to be a millionaire someday, then I would never become that person. I knew that. I knew that if I was uncomfortable saying that I wanted to become wealthy, then I would never become wealthy, okay? So what I did was, when I was in the prison system, the prisoners were very scared to go talk to the warden of the prison. So the prison I was in had like 2,000 prisoners in it, and the warden was like the CEO of the prison, and he was the big dog, the alpha male, the big honcho, and usually he would have 3 or 4 associate wardens, and these are like his right-hand men, okay? And whatever the warden says, like in America, the warden has complete authority over what happens inside that prison. And he delegates that authority to his 3 or 4 associate wardens. And each one of them run a certain department inside the prison. So they would be like the vice presidents. The warden is like the president of that prison, like a country. And then the 3 associate wardens would be like the vice presidents of that prison. And these guys are ruthless. If you are a prisoner and you go talk to them and you ask them something, like, hey, can we get more food? Or, hey, we're not being treated correctly. Any statement like that, they do not even have to answer you. They can snap their fingers and there will be 12 guards that will come and push your ass to the ground, cuff you, and throw your ass in the hole. They don't even have to respond to you. So because of that, the threat of being cuffed and thrown in the hole, when you go talk and complain about anything inside the prison, it was not, people were not motivated to go and complain about the prison conditions to the associate warden or to the warden. And I knew, obviously I had the same fear too, that I could be thrown in the hole if I go talk to them. But I knew that if I was afraid to open my mouth and talk to someone of a higher authority, I would never become a millionaire. Because if I'm afraid to talk to people, right, that's not going to happen. I had to be fearless. So the way I practiced it was that every chance that I could, if I saw the warden, right, or if I saw the associate warden, I would confront them. I would walk up to them and ask them about the latest updates or the things that were happening inside the prison, new laws, new regulations, new policies. The first few times I did it, I was scared shitless because I knew that the warden did not have to answer me. If he just disliked the question I asked him for just even that much, he can just, the minute that an inmate approaches a warden like this, there's like 10 guards that automatically start to surround him, there's guards that automatically start to surround to see what's going on. Like, why are you approaching the warden? You're a prisoner. You know, they don't want you approaching the warden asking him anything, right? So his boys, his homeboys, his soldiers are going to come and surround you in some way or another to be ready to get your ass, okay? So what happened was, I would go there and approach these people, and I would ask them, right, about the different regulations and policies and the new laws that were coming out. I would ask them questions I knew that would not get me in trouble, okay? Because it was the guards, the warden's duty, responsibility, that when Congress changes the drug laws or anything like that, they have to notify the warden, and the warden's responsibility is to notify the prisoners that these drug laws have changed, okay? So I knew that I can get away with asking him that without getting in trouble. However, it was still scary as shit to go and approach and talk to these wardens, because at any time they don't even have to answer you. They can just look over at the guards, and that was all it took for them to come over and cuff you and throw you in the hole. And throw you in the hole for a month, and then we'll figure out later, and then we'll come out and figure out what it was you were asking about. So this happens often. So none of the prisoners would approach the warden about anything, okay, about complaints. It was very rare that happened. So I knew that in order to create $1 million mindset and a $1 million brand, I knew that I had to have the balls to go and talk to people of higher authority than me. And so every chance that I could, I would go and talk to the warden. I would talk to the associate warden. I would talk to the captain of the prison. I would talk to the lieutenants that worked in the prison, because I knew I had to get that nervousness out of my gut. I had to get the shakes. I had to get the fear out of me. I knew that if I wanted to become a millionaire someday and become a wealthy, I could not be afraid to talk to someone of a higher status than me. So that was the only way to practice. There was no entrepreneurs in there. There was no businessmen in there. There was nobody that I could practice that. The only people that I could practice opening my mouth and talking to them to get rid of the fear inside my gut was to talk to the prison guards and the authorities that were significantly at a higher status level than I was, okay? So those two things. I changed my mind and reframed what the other broke-ass prisoners were saying to make it a positive statement in my mind. And then I trained myself to approach people of higher authority that could possibly get me in trouble and throw me in the hole, and talk to them without any fear. And after doing that, multiple dozens of times, I started to realize that I had no longer had fear inside my heart, inside my gut, right? And the absolute worst thing, right, was that when I started to say that, I wanted to be a millionaire someday in front of other prisoners and other people around me, it did not seem authentic. It's very gut-wrenching. It did not seem real when I said that, okay? However, after training myself to be comfortable to talk to other people and say these things, right, I was starting to realize that the more I said that I wanted to become a millionaire someday and I would do whatever it takes to get there, right, the more I realized I started to become comfortable with that. I became comfortable with the idea that I can become a millionaire, right? And then what happened was, now I would actually go out there and get off my ass and go and do it, okay? Whereas before, when I had that gut-wrenching feeling where I didn't feel that it was authentic, that it was real, that I could become a millionaire, I never actually went out there and did shit. I never did anything, okay? I never did anything, and what happened was, nothing happened. Okay, but now that I started to practice, okay, that's the key, guys. You want to become wealthy, you got to practice the right thoughts, you got to practice the right speech, and then that will lead you to practicing the right action steps that can get you there, okay? For example, at the time of this video, we just got, at the beginning of 2019, we just went through a massive 80-90% crash. And we're going through a really painful bear market for everyone, even including myself. Even though I'm experiencing the area, it's still painful to have to go through that, okay? But it's part of trading and investing, okay? This pain and this risk, right, yields huge rewards. You got to ask yourself, like, right now, the market just crashed 80-90%. Historically, if we look at the charts, we go back in history, every time Bitcoin or the market crashes 80-90% and we bought Bitcoins at that time, historically we came out ahead later on, significantly, okay? However, we have to ask ourselves, like, why are we scared right now to buy? Like, why are people scared to buy Bitcoins right now after a 80-90% crash in the markets, okay? And the reason is because during this whole time, they have been training their mind to not have a $1 million personal brand. Because if they truly had a $1 million personal brand, they would see that this 80-90% crash in the market is a massive buying opportunity. They would see that. They would see that, okay? They wouldn't be scared of it because during this whole time, they didn't train their mindset, their speech, and their actions to match that of a $1 million personal brand, okay? So when that $1 million personal brand sees an opportunity, it's not going to take it because it was never a $1 million personal brand to begin with, right? I'm going to take, for example, this Ferrari shirt that I'm buying, this luxury Breitling watch that I'm wearing, okay? When the companies make these Ferraris, these supercars, right? They frame it in a way that, hey, this is a luxury supercar, right? In Southeast Asia, where I'm at right now, I'm broadcasting from Bangkok, they charge you out the ass. You can get a Ferrari I was shopping for a Ferrari 458 in Dallas, Texas. It was like $185,000, $190,000 US dollars. Over here, that same car is like $600,000, $700,000, $800,000, depending upon where you buy it. In Vietnam, it's like $800,000, $900,000. It's almost $1 million to buy a Ferrari, okay? So what happens is when someone builds this Ferrari, the manufacturer builds the Ferrari supercar, they brand it as a, these are for millionaires, these are for wealthy people. And then somebody that comes along that is wealthy, that has $1 million mindset, they see this Ferrari and it matches what they were looking for. And if they have the money and the opportunity to buy it, more than likely they will buy it because their thoughts and the car, everything is in alignment with they already had the mindset of $1 million personal brand. So when they see a product that matches their $1 million personal brand, it's very easy for them to latch on, purchase the product, or want to buy the product, okay? However, when you see people that see a Ferrari and they they look at it like it's like Superman is looking at kryptonite or something, it's because their mouthpiece right here says that they want to be a millionaire, but their mindset and their actions, they don't match. They're not in alignment. So in order to create life-changing profits and life-changing money, the key is you gotta have that $1 million personal brand inside of you. Okay, and when I say inside of you, that means that it's inside your head, it's inside your speech. You are comfortable saying that you want to become a millionaire. You're comfortable broadcasting that to the world. Okay, if you're uncomfortable and it's gut-wrenching, it's uncomfortable, or you're like, I'm sweating, I'm gritting my teeth, there's emotional anguish inside my head whenever I mention the words millionaire or I want to be a millionaire, then you are not ready to be there. You have to get to the point where you are comfortable talking about being a millionaire as if you are talking about football, you're talking about eating pizza, you're talking about eating egg rolls, right? You have to be comfortable about wanting to be a millionaire as if you want to have good health, or if you're hungry and you want to eat, or just any other activity in your life. At that point, then your ass will actually get up and be motivated to go make that happen, okay? So I hope that this video, guys, helps you guys understand what it takes. It's not just that you have to have a millionaire mindset or say that you want to be a millionaire. You have to be comfortable saying that. You have to be comfortable saying that as if it's not a big deal, okay? Because if it is a big deal, more than likely you may not get there, or it will take you a long time, okay? Speaking of taking a long time, if you want to take a long time figuring out how to trade and invest in cryptocurrencies, you're welcome to do it on your own. I'm sure you'll figure it out eventually in a few decades, right? But if you want to fast track and figure out how to trade, how to learn how to invest in cryptocurrencies the easiest, fastest way possible, I highly recommend that you go to www.bootcamp, www.cryptocurrency.market/blueprint. Get you a copy of our cryptocurrency investing blueprint. I believe that it is the absolute best training program for people who are serious about learning how to trade and invest in cryptocurrencies. All right, it is the Ferrari of trading education out there for cryptocurrencies. Okay, do not jack around looking for something else that could be better. Go for the best. Go for the Ferrari of training programs, and go to and get you a copy of our cryptocurrency investing blueprint at www.cryptocurrency.market. I hope /blueprint. I hope that this video, guys, inspires you guys to go out there and every day practice having the mindset and the intention, like Brucey said, your intention in here to become wealthy, to become a millionaire, right? And then to go out there and practice being comfortable saying that, being comfortable talking to other millionaires, being comfortable talking to somebody that's at a higher financial status than you are. Because if you are uncomfortable talking to them about money, then more than likely it's going to take you a long time to make the money. Okay? And then the third thing and the final thing is get off your ass and go make it happen. Like, go get the copy of the cryptocurrency investing blueprint. Stop talking about it, stop thinking about it, go get a copy. Take action. Sitting on your ass, okay, will not make you money. Okay? I've never seen somebody sit on their ass, do nothing, and make money. The average profit of someone sitting there on their ass doing nothing is 0%. Okay, that's what I've noticed. Okay, so thanks for watching this video, guys. If you like my videos, give me 2 thumbs up. If you don't like my videos and you're one of my long-time trolls, make sure that you give 2 thumbs down. Okay, don't flip the script and give me a thumbs up all of a sudden when you've been trolling me all these years, right? And then make sure that you follow me on Twitter at HeyTaiZen. Okay, easy to spell, easy to follow. Also, 1/3 of you guys out there watching these videos are not subscribed to our channel. Okay, my goal in 2019 is to get our channel up to over 100,000 subscribers. Okay, so work with me here, pound that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay, be inspired, be motivated, guys. All right.